star, but now you're lying in the dirt. Half of you is laughing and a half of you is hurt. You used to be so certain, now you don't know what to do. Everybody yelling out that nothing's really true. Don't sit there in the darkness, don't let it get you down. Summon up the energy and get out into town. You gotta go. Oh, 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 oh. Listen to me now, you gotta go. Find your light and let it show.
Welcome to this week's episode of Stage Door Athletic, and it is indeed a bit of a different one. A special welcome to new listeners. If you're coming to the podcast for the first time, it's really good to have you. Stage Door Athletic is the Theatre of Sport podcast. What does that mean? Me and my mate, actor Jack Loxton, come together and sit down in the Stage Door Athletic Clubhouse to talk all things sport, with a healthy dose of theatre and our experiences of working in TV and theatre, to dissect the week's action, try and find the sporting narratives, the heroes and the villains, as well as heading out to various sporting events with our rather lofty ambition of getting invited to some of our bucket list sporting events. I mean, don't hold your breath for that. We seem a long way off those invites yet, but keep the faith. This week is a little bit different. You may hear the dulcet tones of Peter Drury and Gary Neville behind me. No, they're not guests. I am in the Standoff, which is a sports bar in Exeter owned by Gareth Steenson, otherwise known as Steeno, the instrumental, legendary fly half of the Exeter Chiefs, who is a huge part of the story of Exeter Chiefs' rise from small town Devon club to English Rugby Union Premiership champions and then European champions. And it's that story that has been chronicled in Rob Kitson's fantastic sports journalist book, and that has now been adapted into a stage play called EXE Men. And that's appearing at the Exeter Nortcott Theatre down here in Exeter, and I am playing the Exeter Chiefs coach Rob Baxter. Now, I've spoke about this a little bit with Jack on previous episodes of the podcast. I was down at Sandy Park, the home of the Exeter Chiefs, to see the Women's World Cup quarter-final in a previous episode. But as previewed, I wanted to bring you a bit of backstage footage around the production, what it's like to be part of a production like this, particularly with all its unique aspects of chronicling real-life stories with real-life people, and my first venture into playing a real-life person on stage or indeed in any format. And so we've got a really good episode coming up, including an interview with the director, Martin Berry, who's also the creative director of the Exeter Nortcott Theatre. That's a really, really fascinating chat about the genesis of the production through to production, as well as talking actually about the existential threat to theatre in our modern world. So it's a really good interview coming up. Also head to Sandy Park again, but this time with the rest of the cast to try and get a little backstage tour, as it were. Then we go into the theatre, which is always a really great part of the process at the start of Tech Week, when all the technical elements meet what's been happening in the rehearsal room. So you've got the sound and the video design and the lighting and the costumes and the extraordinary set, meeting all the action that we've been rehearsing in a separate space for some weeks. And you bring all those elements together, which is a really exciting part of the production. But then, just this week, a couple of days ago, I also sat down with the rest of the cast to find out how they were experiencing it. Before we head into what is a really critical week, we had our first dress rehearsal last night, which went really, really well. We've got another one coming up on Monday evening, so that would be yesterday if you're listening to this fresh on Tuesday. And the show opens this Tuesday, the 7th of October, and runs through to the 18th of October in Exeter. And yeah, we're going into a really exciting phase of it. Naturally, no Stage Door Athletic episode is fully complete without hearing from Jack, and he brilliantly called in to check in to see how things are going in rehearsals. Hi.
Robert, how are we?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm okay, thanks. I'm not too shabby. I just wanted to go to see how things are going in Exeter.
Yeah, it's good. I'm just in my dressing room now. It is Monday lunchtime. We're doing dress rehearsal 2 tonight, and then we've got our first preview tomorrow night. So yeah, it's good.
How exciting.
Yeah.
Have you learnt all your lines?
Yeah, I think I've got like 96% of them. Yeah.
96%?
There's always those little ones where you just like, you know, where you haven't really got a proper thought in your head for the line.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so then you come up with something else to help you think of the line. So I've got a line which goes, nerves, nothing will ever compare to the last 10 minutes of that game. And I want the word compare, for some reason, I can't lodge in my head. So, you know, nothing will be, you know, there's lots of different variants of that, like nothing would be like, I'll never forget, or all those things. So I always think of Nothing Compares, Sinead O'Connor, just as I'm watching this. Yeah. So I'm always like, that's what I'm thinking of just before the line, so I can get compares in the right order.
Just think of Sinead, bless her.
Yeah. But of course, I should really just have a very deep, meaningful connection to that line.
I learn lines sometimes just because I know I have to say it at that bit.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
And sometimes you can see the page turn in your mind when it's in a different part of the script.
Yeah, that's where, and the page turn, that's how I know that line.
Yeah.
No, totally.
And sometimes you're doing a pause, not because it deserves a pause, but because there's a stage direction in the spacing on the page, and you haven't learned to drive through the thoughts yet.
See, stage athletics, finger on the pulse of all acting techniques, and that is definitely one of them. 110%. Yeah. So hold on. So how many weeks rehearsals did you have? Have you had
3 and a tech week? So yeah, I mean, it's not loads, but it's been really, you know, we've been really. Martin, the director, is fantastic. Got lovely, calm energy. So it's all feeling very prepared. No panic. I've got, you know, great castmates who are just very experienced pros, and it's just, it all feels good and all feels possible. I think it's just
any arseholes in the cast.
I think I might be that.
That's what it is, man. That's the other thing. So, if there aren't any arseholes in the cast, that means you are.
Yeah. So that's fine. I'm coming to terms with that.
I can't believe that. You're
therapy.
You know, you're lovely to work with. I can't believe that. So how long's your run? How many weeks you got?
It's only short. It's only 2 weeks. So we open tomorrow night and then 2 weeks to run. And it's going to be great. I think it's going to be really, really good. And listen, oh God, Jack, I've got to say this out loud because obviously I put together this week's episodes, of which obviously this is a part, but I thought I'd head down to a sports bar last night to watch some sport, and it's owned by one of the players featured heavily in the play. So I thought, that'd be a good place to do the introduction. But obviously I was down there on my own. I took the mic down there and I was recording in and amongst the noise. I thought it'd be good for atmosphere. I've just listened back to it and I've gone into some weird late night DJ voice thing. So if there are any new listeners joining at this point, I'd like to, that introduction you've just heard isn't really how I normally sound or how we sound. This is normally how we sound.
Well, I would it's not common, but it has been known that you do that, Rob.
Yeah. But anyway,
that's why live voice comes back out again, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But that's class. Have you been enjoying Exeter though as well? I want to know about Exeter.
Really enjoying Exeter. It's really nice. It's a really good city. Getting to know it, and the theatre is in the heart of the university campus, so that's been great. Like watching all the students arrive for Freshers' Week, and got quite nostalgic about that whole period of my life, and seeing them set off in whatever direction they go in the various clubs. I'm pretty convinced there wasn't a financial investments club though when I went to university, but but this is a very, I think, middle class, high income university, and the financial investments club that was on advertising, all the people were wearing fleece gilets. So they're sort of preparing for their middle age already, which was impressive. But it's great, lovely to be around. And it's good. So coming up, I've already previewed this in the podcast, so no reason you'd know all of this. But I'm about to sit down with the director, Martin, to have a little chat. So it's week 3 of rehearsal now.
Yes.
And I've managed to blag Martin Berry's time. Martin is the director and he's the creative director and CEO of the Nortcott Theatre here in Exeter. And I think, like many people will assume, I know my friends, I bet yours do as well, that the rehearsal process is the job of directing, but you've been on this months, if not years ahead of time. And of course, lots of parts of the process come together during the rehearsal period and it feels like a crunch time. But this begins way ahead of time, doesn't it? So maybe you could talk a bit about the genesis of the idea you had and how we've got to this point.
Of course, yeah, you're so right as well, Rob. Hello, by the way.
Hello.
So I've been in this job about 18 months, and one of the first things I did, even before starting, was sort of look up everything I could find out about this part of the world. And I grew up not too far from here, so I knew a little bit. Discovered the book EXE Men, that ultimately is the thing that inspired this process. And that was early doors, so that's about 18 months ago.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I reckon, or certainly for this, the process is then about some approvals. So once you've gone, there might be something in this, and that's kind of a big part of my job is actually going, that might be a thing.
Yeah.
And trying to curate the things that you're going to see through.
And just on that as a slight segue, what percentage of ideas get the opportunity to come around?
Oh my goodness. I guess it depends how ideasy you are. For me, a very small percentage.
Yeah.
But that's because I have a lot of ideas. Yeah. A lot of ideas. So, and there are hills you decide to die on, right? So, and this wasn't quite that. There was a point where this became that, and I'll speak about that. But this was definitely one where I thought I really think this book, this story, could make a great stage play. So then it was about approval. So in the first instance, that's with my two fellow chief execs. So sort of took the idea to them, and they agreed with me. So then it's about a couple of other stakeholders who would ultimately end up playing a key role. So sort of expect on the quiet to the chairs of the board, things like that. You go, let's just sort out the people that might stand in the way early doors.
Yeah.
And everyone was up for it. And then you put the team together, or at least work out whether you can. And that was that watershed moment when I was like, actually, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Which is when we got our writer. So that next bit when you're like, okay, everyone seems to think it's a good idea. Who's going to make it? And for this, a writer felt so important because obviously we need a writer, but also it's quite niche, right? I want someone who's ideally Southwest based, someone who knows their rugby, and someone, of course, who's going to do a good job.
Yeah.
And I knew someone who knew Ashley, and they'd suggested him, and we both thought he'd turn it down because he's quite fancy, not as a person, he's very down to earth, but he's real life on Mars, and Ashley's like, he doesn't need this.
Yeah.
Why would he do this? But actually, it's become a real passion project for him. So, and then once you've got your team, away you go, and then it's everything from design to sound, and marketing campaign, of course, is huge. So you're right. I reckon this isn't unusual. I think 18 months. To 2 years is probably about normal.
And so talk a bit about the process with Ashley, who had never written a stage play before this one, so he's a really renowned and consummate screenwriter. Now, he said to us, and I'm sure to you prior to that he's a big theatre goer, so has always been drawn to this idea of having a go at this. But talk through the sort of hand-holding or leaving him to his own devices version of working with a writer who hasn't necessarily understood the form in the same way he would a screenplay.
And I don't know if Ashley knows this, but it's actually my first time working with a TV writer who's never done a play. So I've worked with some TV writers who've not done many.
Yeah.
That first time. So sort of secretly in my head, I was a bit like, how's this going to go? How green is he going to be? But actually, it's been great, to be fair. I mean, one of the things I knew, but has been brought into really sharp and wonderful focus, is how ego-free TV writers have to be.
Right.
And that's not to say that theatre writers, occasionally, maybe there's a little bit of ego there, because I'm sure that goes for me and directors, right? But the fact that in TV, generally speaking, you get sent notes by people you may have never met.
Yeah.
And it's not a conversation. These are the notes. Change it.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons some people don't like working in TV. But if, like Ashley, you've got your head around that process. So I would go into note sessions early on, ready for 2 hours of back and forth over my suggested notes on a draft. And 20 minutes later, we're done, because he would just go, okay. Yeah, I'll send you the second draft. And I was like, what am I missing?
You're gearing up for a fight.
I know, And I sort of check my own ego, because it might get a bit, out of hand in this. So it's been really, really good. And what it looked like in practical terms is we had the ultimate rehearsal draft we're all working with is draft 6, or 4.2 as we've called it. So 6 drafts over roughly a year. The first draft was excellent. So actually it's been a first draft, and then lots of more than tweaks, but adaptations of that. And as I say, he's been very, very generous and keen and up for that. Yeah, and there were moments where you go, that's a bit TV. And we've found one or two little teeny ones in rehearsal that we've had to approach in a different way. But by that I mean things that it would work if you could zoom in. pick camera one, but we could, little moments like that where you go, we've got to show that, or we've got to say that. We can't just raise an eyebrow because half the audience won't notice. It's been really positive, and he's been in rehearsals a little bit and feeding in, but he's also seems to be more than happy for us to do our job, so it's nice.
Yeah, and so obviously the play's themes are sporting ones. It chronicles the journey of a successful rugby team. Sport on stage, it's not commonplace, is it? There's some classic plays like Outside Edge set on a cricket pitch, and we've got touring at the minute Dear England, the James Graham play, which really is about Gareth Southgate's tenure with England. But I've got a theory about nightclub scenes on TV and in movies. They're hard to achieve because you can't always fill the nightclub with the kind of numbers and state of being that is required to convince
even the best acting in the world.
So sport on stage is a tricky challenge, isn't it? But you've come up with a brilliant way of navigating that with the community ensemble. Talk a bit about that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you think it's brilliant. I mean, it certainly seems to be working. Yeah, I mean, I've seen, or I'm aware of, and have seen some sports plays to varying degrees of success. And I think it's a key question, because the audience, one of the things you're just bound to think when you see a rugby play advertised, or cricket or whatever it might be, is how are they going to do that?
Yeah,
and we hope that that's also a reason for people to come to have that question answered. For me, in this play, the story itself is, of course, about the rugby team, but it's actually really about what was unique about the Chiefs, and it was the fact they were mostly local men. Lots of them were farmers who played rugby for fun, who were then brought together, or they were, and then sort of augmented by or added to by players from near and from further away, but who'd been rejected in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
So there's something about that community in the broadest sense, and people who have found their place, their tribe, and so that the awareness of that being at the heart of what Ashley and I wanted to make led to this idea. Well, hang on a minute, why don't we have 30 odd community performers who do a long rehearsal process? We don't want it, because sometimes you hear the word community theatre and it suggests a certain lack of polish.
Yeah.
And not have, rehearse them to a point where it's still a slick piece of theatre, but that ultimately has more bodies on stage, so we can actually do a scrum. In fact, our scrum's got too many people in it. It's a giant scrum, and line out, and it's been joyful. I mean, it's really, I think, he says boldly, I think it's really working, because yes, you have the numbers, but also you have that literal and metaphorical sense of community. And then when they celebrate, and they, spoiler alert, when they win at the end, there's sort of several levels of joy. There's all these community performers who've made this play. There's the story of the Chiefs. There's the professionals doing what they do. It's just sort of, and all these people are still alive, so lots of them are going to be in the audience, which is quite scary.
And so obviously you had to reach out to all these real life people. Did you have to do that, or was that a choice?
No, it's not like a legal requirement.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, I did find that out because I didn't really know.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, what's the rules here? Rob Kitson, who wrote the book, we did reach out to him partly because I really wanted him involved because he's so knowledgeable, but also because in order to sort of nick a bit of the imagery and some of the stuff from the book. Again, there's like a grey area there, because he doesn't own the history, right? History's just history. But he wrote that book, and so it felt, I wouldn't have felt comfortable doing it without him. Fortunately, he was very happy and agreed to be part of the process. And then it just felt like, well, it would be kind of weird and a shame to do this in this city, in Exeter, and not have Chiefs behind it. So we did reach out we sent an early draft of the script to Tony Rowe, the chair, Rob Baxter, obviously the coach, who you play, and I didn't sleep much that night.
Okay. Did you have a contingency? What if they say no?
Well, the contingency was find out what they weren't happy with and change it.
Yeah.
And Ashley was always cool with that. He just said, look, if there's something they hate, we'll find another way.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they really enjoyed it, and I would have been happy with just neutral, but actually they were really positive, and Tony sort of wrote a quote for us to use, and Rob's, they're all coming to see it, so it's been really delightful. It's still terrifying. I mean, I don't know how you feel. I mean, you must feel even worse, but
blocking it out.
They're just going to be there, and you're depending on, we're not the first to do it, right? It's a thing that actors find themselves doing. But I'll be on edge on that night when they're all there.
Yeah. And so sport, we've had this conversation prior to recording this, and it's obviously a big tenet of what we do on the podcast, but theatre and sport have such parallels and crossover in our view. And I've said many times, the best theatre I've seen has often been in a sports stadium when the end is unwritten and you're part of that moment. But there's an interactivity between audience and action, isn't there, at times, that you're seeking because of that?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the people who run the big sports, if you like, the big, where the money, so nowadays that can include rugby, certainly football, cricket to an increasing degree, tennis in some ways. I think the people who run those are storytellers. They understand that you need characters. Yeah. Right? Cristiano Ronaldo is hero and villain in one. You need, obviously drama, goes without saying, and I'm sure you've trodden these paths in the podcast, but I believe it absolutely, and to the extent to which in my previous job we had a project where we had two of the local sports clubs and the theatre working together on like youth theatres, so the youth squads in the sports would work with our kids and make plays together. It worked really well. There's a lot more. Initially everyone's like, what's this? What's the? And then when you start to dig in, obviously there are differences, but there are huge similarities. The other one I talk about or think about is rigour. So, in a good rehearsal process, you are training. You are learning and growing together. There's a camaraderie, you socialise together, and also you're creating something that's as rigorous and good, frankly, as possible. And that fundamentally is what a sports team are doing. The difference is, as you said, the script in sport isn't written.
Yeah.
And I think that might be why sport gets an average attendance of 60,000. We don't, because ultimately, the thing that sports has that we don't, although we try and make it feel like it, is the immediacy.
It is. And so this is a bit unfair because it's a big question without any forewarning, but is sport part of the existential threat to theatre a bit at the minute, with all the subscription available TV channels, sport, a big part of that, that's a big chunk of that money that people are spending on these subscriptions, the golden age of Netflix and TV. There's a sort of existential question for theatre a bit at the minute about how does it fit into people's time and budget a little bit at the moment when all that stuff is available to us out there. I mean, you're running a building in a really tricky time. What thoughts are you having around that at the minute about how theatre needs to find its space?
Unusually, maybe. I feel quite positively, but I'll explain that, because you're right, it's a really tough time for various reasons. Firstly, on the sports versus or sports that I'd never really thought about it before, but so responding live in the moment, I think that sport, physical activity in the broadest sense, games involving playing, and storytelling and theatre have always coexisted forever, since human beings have been a thing. So the idea, I think we need both as humans. We need both. So I hope that they would continue to coexist, notwithstanding the questions about money and disposable income. On the point about the sort of the march of the Netflix and all of that, I do think we're in a crisis point, but I think the way through, and I think we'll look back ultimately on this as quite a useful time, even though it feels a bit grim because there's not enough money, etc. The only reason Netflix is doing well is because they're doing what they do brilliantly. So the good stuff on Netflix, the Squid Games and the House of Cards, are brilliant. I mean, they're brilliant. They're well made, they are well scripted, they are well acted, they are phenomenally successful. Adolescents. And at the moment, this is a bit controversial, but there we are. At the moment, there's too much theatre that's not very good, in my view. I go and see too many things that are, and some of it's through underfunding. There's no attack on the theatre makers themselves necessarily, but as an industry, the days of a phenomenally well put together, fine-tuned performance of, whatever, name your play, new work, older work, classics, musicals, whatever it might be. There's too much stuff that we coax people along to now that is all right. And therefore, of course, people are going to choose Netflix. But I don't think it's because they got multi-millions. It's because they've got the hang of writing great drama and casting good actors and directing it well. So I think we, rather than go, it's not fair, I think we should bloody learn from it.
And
step up our game.
Yeah.
There are exceptions. I've seen some phenomenal theatre in the last 10 years, do not get me wrong. But because of underfunding, because of time, because of shortened rehearsal processes, because drama training is not what it used to be in too many places, and various other agendas that pull us away from making great theatre. So I'm going on a bit now. That we have been pulled away from making great theatre. And I see it as part of my job and people in my job in theatres to really try and push back against that and focus in on what people want to see, and also telling them not telling them what they want to see, not being afraid to go, okay, this isn't a well-known title. EXE Men's not a title, right? It's not, no one's ever heard of it, but I hope we're telling a really great story that will entertain people. It's the longest run, it's only 2 weeks, longest run this theatre's done for a very long time, because I'm convinced that the word of mouth is what's going to sell it.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting.
Well, we've really set expectations there. We're taking on a...
I mean, the guy playing Rob Baxter's a bit dodgy, but you can carry one bad actor, you know.
Well, thanks for letting me nick your lunchtime.
No, pleasure, anytime.
What are we doing this afternoon?
What we're doing? We're chucking chairs about, weird as it sounds. We've got this mad idea that the scene changes are going to be sort of played as if they're a bit of sort of rugby vibe. So do a bit of that, and then we'll do some proper acting.
Yes.
Week 3, so it's always good fun, week 3. We get stuck in a lot more.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks so much.
Well, he sounds like an absolute legend.
He is. He's really smart, really lovely chap, and it was really, really enjoying
I'd love to work with him. He sounds lovely. Yeah,
he's really great.
Fantastic.
Oh, hello. Oh, here's Tim. My dressing room mate. Tim's just come in. How are you doing, Tim?
Hey, Tim.
Oh, you've got your saxophone with you.
Yes, I'm going to move to another room.
Brilliant. I shall leave you to it for a sec, Tim. Tim's practicing his saxophone. I think he's auditioning for the upcoming production of Little Shop of Horrors. I think he's after playing a saxophone part. So we then headed off down to the stadium a few weeks into rehearsal. So this is us heading down to the stadium.
Oh, nice.
So Heineken Cup trophy and the finalists. So that's the runners-up medal, and there's the champions medal. Gallagher Premiership winners medals, runners-up medals.
So is this a replica or the actual?
I think it'll be a replica. Hi, how you doing?
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to see you. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Welcome to Sandy Park.
Thanks.
Want to go out into the stands?
Let's do it. Yeah, that'd be
Anywhere
great.
you can take it.
Heading down, essentially what we would call backstage, but in the tunnel area. Look at this. So with dressing rooms and all the walls are lined with, as you'd imagine, victorious images, close-up images of fantastic moments, big hits, champion play. Oh, past the laundry room, smells great. Physio room on our left as we emerge down the tunnel to, past the gym, which you can imagine is sort of in a cliche fashion playing hard rock. And we emerge down the tunnel, bang on the halfway line, and out onto the pitch. Look at this, beautiful. Look at that, it's like a lawn. Here he is, our video designer. Great. And where does Rob sit match day?
Up there.
Where it's focus group.
Yeah.
Sponsored tables,
all
obviously.
The press sit in the kind of grey ones.
Yes.
Tables that fold down. And then the other team sit on the other,
Yes, the opposition coaches. And where would Joe Baxter and friends and family and WAGs sit?
So all the WAGs have box 18.
Box
which is
18.
That last one over there.
Oh, okay, great.
And so they sit outside of that one.
Oh, lovely.
And Tony. Where does Tony sit?
Tony's box, I think, is this one, right here. And so
Bang centre.
Yeah, bang in the centre, yeah.
And there's some padded seats up there,
they're
Tim.
the good seats.
Behind the glass barrier, there's 2 rows of padded seats for people in the boxes.
Yeah.
So the gym is on the right there. We've seen the laundry on the left in the tunnel.
Yep.
There's also the physio room and stuff.
Yep.
Does Rob have an office here?
Yes, he does. So they have the coaches' office, so they all sit together and do coaching.
Pre-match things with magnet boards and things like that.
They tend to do all the big chats with the players in the food room.
Okay.
It's got whiteboards and stuff.
Yeah.
And they sit there all in their little circle tables and listen intently to how they're going to win.
Of course. And how often are they generally sort of at the stadium relative to the training ground?
Quite a lot of the time. Well, they're here. So the boys train here.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. So there's top pitch, which is just beyond that stand.
Oh, I see. Oh, so that's great.
They either train on top pitch quite a lot.
Yeah.
Or they'll do team run on the actual shiny pitch itself.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because that must really give them a real sense of home as well, and a bit of a sense of unity that they're kind of living and breathing and hanging out here as well.
Exactly. All of their time is spent here, whether it's training here or eating here or rehab or the gym. Anything they do kind of related to Chiefs tends to be here. So it really is like their home.
Yeah. Are they in today?
No, out today. A couple of rehabbers in. But yeah, which is why I could sneak in.
Very nice. Yeah, great. Right, I'm going to go ascend into Rob Baxter's seat as I transform, heading up. And of course, rugby union and rugby league, and I think a lot of sports other than football, people tend to want to elevate themselves to get a better view of the pitch, rather than just being in the dugouts, which are often the worst positions. Hi, just going to go sit in Rob's seat if you don't mind. Is that all right? Thank you. So I'm ascending up into, it's basically the back row of the main stands, where they've got a desk and they can plug in and have all their monitors like they do in rugby union. So they get, I think, just giving my Rob Baxter face. Often what they do in rugby as a sport is that they'll have the live match data on screen so they can respond in time to what's going on. If people are getting fatigued, the number of hits, the number of tackles that they're doing, so that they can respond, and it helps drive their replacements. They also see replays, etc., for fouls, so they can moan at the referee as well. So all that going on, but it's a great view. And up comes Tim. You'd be in the posh seats, I think, Tim. Yeah. Tony Rowe is the infamous big character chair owner of Exeter Chiefs. Has a box, as you can imagine, on the halfway line, and 2 rows of nice padded seats. We were in similar seats last weekend at the Women's World Cup. He's just going to go settle in. It's his natural habitat. We've got the video designer here with us, and what's great about the play is it features a lot of scenes and footage and pictures of incidental places that feature in the play, the Globe Pub in Topsham, the farm that Rob Baxter lives on with his wife Jo and their kids, obviously stands, various stadiums, Twickenham, and scenes here from Sandy Park. This tractor is on the pitch just putting in holes for drainage, I assume. Yeah, there's all those bits of footage that will help just create a sense of place. The play has been performed in Traverse, where they've created seating on the stage area to effectively be like the East Stand. I'm sat in the West Stand now, which is the main one. And the main auditorium and theatre will be the West Stand. And you've got AstroTurf right across the stage to create a real feeling that you're in the stadium. A pair of rugby posts descend, benches descend to take us into the dressing room, and various other bits of furniture. So I think it's going to be a great experience for regulars and Chiefs fans who would recognise a lot of the environments, have sat in the stands themselves, to come and have that replicated in the play. And anyone who hasn't been a Chiefs fan but is coming to it new will really get a feel of what it means to be in the cauldron of a sports pitch. Just heading over to have a quick look at the menus. Classic sports ground. I mean, it's not Wembley prices, but the menu exists of 5 food items. Giant Chiefs meat pasty, a pasty special. Good to know the difference between those two things. Cheese and onion pasty, and a Ruby Murray pasty, and a sausage roll. So pasty, or sausage roll. You'd expect nothing less. We are in Devon. Thanks for having us. Really nice, really helpful. Thanks a lot. Take care. See you later. Just out in the car park, there's a Range Rover there with the number plate 64T. 64T. Tony? Very good. That was a giggle. I went and sat in Rob Baxter's seat. Do you like Tech Weeks?
No. Well, it depends. It depends if your director's sort of kind of calm. I've done a couple of Tech Weeks with you, Rob, and you can get quite stressy on a Tech Week, if we're being honest. Not that they're horrendous, but because I know you quite well, and I knew you before you directed me in these shows at Central.
Yes, that's true. But also, I think I've learned a lot since those days. I'm just backstage now.
Well, if you ever direct me again, then we'll find out if that's true or not, Rob.
Yes, that's true.
Do you like Tech? You love Tech Weeks.
I love Tech Weeks. Really, always enjoyed Tech Weeks. Really good part of the process, I always think, and seeing all the elements come together. I get quite giddy about it, but here the set is really brilliant, and this is
there a bed?
No, there isn't a bed.
There is a bed
about that
at all. So, like, I only like a tech rehearsal if there's a bed somewhere on the set.
Yes, you can nap
because obviously
shows.
We need 5 minutes for lighting. One, it's not going to be 5 minutes. Two, it won't just be lighting. It'll be a half-hour break where we don't do anything. So I'm going to lie on the bed and play Candy Crush.
Yeah,
okay?
Exactly. Yeah. Dear, brilliant. This is us heading into the theatre the first time. So I've just arrived at the theatre for Tech Week, always a great fun. Just trying to find my dressing room. Ooh, look at that, dressing room 1. Emile, Ruddock, Joe Feeney, Robert Shaw, Cameron, Tim Hudson, Peter Watts. Lovely boys. Here we are in dressing room 1. Find my little seat. Oh, lovely, look at that. Cliched bulb mirrors as you'd expect, so we can see all the imperfections and perfections in our faces. Ooh, good, lovely. Lovely yellow chair. Dumped my bag, all my costumes on the rail, lovely stuff. Love a Tech Week. I've just done a big trip to Boots, actually, so I'm just going to... It's always great just to be able to get all your, fresh deodorants, toothpaste, toothbrush. Got a little kiss, so it's always nice to get some mouthwash. Make sure that I'm fresh and minty post whatever interval snacks I have. Before Micha and I have a little peck. Biodegradable wet wipes. Toothbrush, contact lenses, shaving foam, razor, etc. Very good. Oh, it's going to be lovely. This is home for the next few weeks as we do the show. And brought my pre-prepared meals in for lunch. I'm going to go dump those in the fridge. So the cats are having a little meet and greet out front before we go in and see the auditorium and the set, and it's quite a transformation. So we're all gathering first to go in together, and we can then all have a nice reaction with the company, which is great. So look forward to that. Are you all right?
Yes, it's weirdly intimate and massive in there.
Yes.
So you'll love it.
Well, that's great. Well done. What an achievement. Are you pleased?
I am, yeah. The team's amazing, though. They've come across so many problems. So we're behind, obviously. This is what tech's just going to be slow.
Yeah.
There's a lot to try. There's a lot to have you walking on and off and trying. But
when was anyone ever ahead in the tech?
I don't know. But if they were, I'd be really concerned.
I don't want to meet them.
No.
Yeah. Oh, well done. That's great. This is a nice idea to do this. It's lovely. It builds a little collective energy, doesn't it? With a cornflake bun. Oh my God! A cornflake bite, yeah, but we know this is so nostalgic, isn't it? I was just chatting then to Maria, the designer, which is cool. So we're about to go into the theatre and have a look at the stage. Who's coming? Are you coming in, guys? Oh, we're being filmed and recorded. Oh my God, some media. In we come. Oh, look at the stadium! Oh, look at that! That really does look like a stadium. Oh, I love the metal frame of the screen. That really sets it off. Oh, it looks great.
Wow.
What a fab job.
Wow.
Doesn't it look good? I'm enjoying the floodlight lighting rig, Marcus. That's great. That looks good. Oh, look at that! Marcus is turning on the banks of lighting which have been rigged to look like floodlights. They look fantastic. You need some of those don't walk on the grass signs, like they have at Wembley, just so that, yes. Yeah, exactly. It's great, you're chuffed.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It feels like a playground. And it feels like all the proportions are right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like big but intimate. Actually, there's a lot of room to play, but you can absolutely imagine a rugby match.
Well, even you just stood there on your own is actually quite beautiful.
It's like a studio and a full-size space at the same time.
It's really good.
You'll have a relationship with the audience. I mean, that front row over there, they're right in it.
Oh, they really are, aren't they?
Whether they like it or not.
I get your note about my ass now. If you could just step away from the front
it's
row.
lovely, I'm sure, but might need to give a little bit of work.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. It's really, really super. I mean, I think that really is an experience for people to sit on there now. And, what they may or may not lose at various points with the inevitable orientation out here, which will happen, I think they get something unique, don't they, and very different. Do you like Tech Weeks?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I mean, they're more stressful if they're going to be, if you see what I mean.
Yes,
but
and you don't have good people around you.
Yeah, everyone's doing great in their roles. And I mean, we've got a lot of work to do in the next week, of course we have.
Yeah.
But there's no reason why we shouldn't get it done, I don't think.
Yeah, where do I want my dad to sit? Just going to go look for a seat for you, Dad. Pick you a nice spot. Ooh, I think I've got one. Yeah, I found you a spot. G17, I think, is going to be your place, Dad. I'll see what I can do. Yeah, really, really good week. And I managed to grab the cast as well. And I bought them all pizza and we went and sat and had a little chat about how we're all getting on. So
Pizza Club.
Yeah, little...
Do they like the fact that one of the cast members has a podcast and won't shut up about it? Or are they okay with it?
How did you know? The tagline has gone around going, oh, do you have a podcast, Rob? I didn't realise that.
Does Rob have a podcast? I'm not really sure. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So this is us having a phone one lunchtime during the tech process. How's it going?
It's all right, isn't it? Yeah. It's all right. It's a lovely team on this job, which makes all the difference when you're in the throngs of tech, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to say that because we're all in the room.
No, sorry, let me clarify that. The cast are fucking horrible. Can we swear?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So we're 3 days into tech, 4 days into tech, 4 days into tech.
4 days.
With our first dress rehearsal tonight. And I feel it's pretty prepared. I've been in far worse situations. Have you?
Yeah.
Yes. Columbus and the discovery of Japan springs to mind.
Was that a production?
That's the actual representation of it. And it was a gift to the critics, of course. Columbus founders, Columbus on the rocks and all that stuff. So that was very challenging.
Why? In what sense?
Just too ambitious, I think. Yeah. Scale too epic.
Yeah.
For a start, Jonathan and I had appearing like that. Was it Vitruvius and Michelangelo's or Leonardo?
I think looking at anyone else for historical answers in the room, Tim, is not a wise move.
It's not like EXE Men hasn't got the scale or the epicness. It's one of the most biggest scale and most epic productions I've been a part of in terms of all the moving parts. I mean, literally 40 people on stage early one time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And more complex than a slop scene at where? Which is your go-to?
The Litchfield Garrick. Yeah. But it is though. And you know, we've got huge bits of scenery set flying in. We've got huge, like, stylised scrummages, which are brutal. And it's a credit to all the various creatives who've managed to manipulate and control and curtail.
Do their job. This probably won't make the edit, Joe. It's a bit like one of your jokes. It's only a 40-minute episode.
I might start getting into costume now.
Lots of people have different relationships to the tech rehearsal. What's your favourite part of the process, from getting the phone call to say you've got the job to last night, anywhere in between? What's the best bit?
I'll take this one, Rob. I think...
Go on.
Misha, what's your favourite? Let's get some sanity on the recording.
Moving on.
I'm not going to say one because that's just an annoying question, but I like the moment of going onto a set. That was a real
yes,
moment
which
for this
we
one,
did
wasn't it?
earlier this week.
So seeing it all kind of shiny and pristine, and then having to like reimagine the story from how it sat in a rehearsal room to how it and then sits on the stage. I like that bit, and I like that first when you step out onto stage. First audience.
Yeah.
And then everything, if it all goes according to plan, just ramps up. And it's like you're doing it for the first time.
Yeah.
That's a buzz.
Are we all nervous people? How do you control your nerves ahead of first night?
It's never nerves. If I'm doing a show which I think is good, it's not nerves of like, oh my God, what if something goes wrong? I just want it to be the best it can be for the audience because I'm proud of the thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, I think with this show, so much love and thought has gone into it. I'd want to deliver that vision.
So what do you do when you're not proud of the piece?
Just coast through it.
Collective relaxation of the sphincter.
Yeah.
Although it's a bit weird at this point in tech because we've been doing the scenes again and again and again. And whereas it used to feel like one coherent whole, I don't know if anyone feels the same.
Yeah.
For me, it now feels like it's a whole, I don't know, scrap.
And we live in a weird world where we do it and then the ensemble cast come in and we reset. So you're Groundhog Day, but everything's different. It's like you're in a surreal dream.
Yeah. Emile, how long did you do Hamilton for?
About 5 years.
Were you in it for 5 years?
Yeah, long time.
So, can you remember the first night feeling, or has it been a while since you've had?
No, you know what I remember more than the first night feeling, because I think in the blur of excitement, it all it blends into one, doesn't it? Especially the start of a job, and especially it was in the past. Whereas coming back from COVID, that first show I remember because it was absolute insanity. Like this. Hamilton loves an introduction, so there's loads of introductory points where different characters are introduced. And just like the very first number, like the lights go down, the king says his speech, and everyone's like, anyway. But then in the first number, what's your name, man? Alexander Hamilton. And just the applause and the screams, without exaggeration, probably lasted around 45 to 50 seconds.
That's so interesting.
Which in the moment where it's just supposed to go straight on was just like everyone's on, our skin was crawling, you know, like, because we obviously, all of us, if anyone went back to a show after COVID, it was that feeling of, oh my God, like, we're back. This is incredible.
That's so interesting you say that, because Jack, who co-hosts the podcast, was in Dear Evan Hansen at the time. He recalls something very, very similar going on, and that had a similar kind of fandom, didn't it? Of people getting a bit obsessed with the show. Loyal followers were back to support the performers, and did you feel the same thing?
Oh yeah, no, the audience was full of all of the Hamill fans, as they're called.
Is that what they are?
And they scream at you, screaming, but it made us feel incredible. So it wasn't like we needed that at that point. It'd been a year and a half since we'd been back on stage, so it was like it fed us in that moment. Yeah, it was wicked.
Do you get nervous, Tim?
Yes, still, but you channel nerves, don't you? In a creative way. And it becomes energy and desire.
So we're all playing real people in this. Has anyone done that before?
Yes.
Oh, you've played many. Winston Churchill, Boris Johnson.
Yes, but Boris Johnson was alive when I...
Oh yes, of course,
Hitler was.
He's not dead now, though. To be fair to him, Tim.
No, he's still extant.
Pete, you did Only Fools and Horses, which is almost like playing a real person, because you're playing a real character that's in everybody's mindset.
Yeah, and actually he died very sadly.
This week.
Yeah,
I noticed that.
The thing with that is, it's just I don't know. I didn't feel that constricted by that, because it was sort of, you're paying homage to a show that's loved, but it's its own thing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. This is very different, because it's the sort of first representation of a story that's being seen, I think. Obviously there's been the book, but a lot, and the book's excellent by Rob Kitson, but it's taking literal interviews and stuff from the likes of Rob Baxter, Joe Baxter, Gareth Stevenson, all that stuff. So let's cut the bit out where I get his name wrong, actually, shall we? Gareth Stevenson.
Yes. What was everyone's approach to that?
I mean, my YouTube algorithm is now just all of the rugby players I'm playing, and it's just studying all of it's the small detail which really sells a character, and just watching how they move, especially for the players. And I'm playing a kicker, Henry Slade, in it.
That is the centrepiece of the show, isn't it?
A lot of people have said I'm the main character, and my agent said that. But the stuff like with the kickers, because me and Pete are both playing kickers in the show. Real life kickers in rugby have such a unique technique, and it's all different. It's like a fingerprint. Everyone has a different routine and way of doing it, and just getting that into your bones was a big step, and you feel like you're already halfway there.
It hurts doing Stevenson's kick, because he lands really heavily on his left ankle. I've never seen anyone do it. He sort of kicks, but then both feet land. He sort of does like a sidestep, which is, it hurts after you do it for a while. If you're not a rugby player, which I'm not.
And Henry Slade is left-footed and I'm right-footed, so I had to learn to do it another way. Like I say, the attention to detail the kickers put into their work it's almost like choreography. It's like a dance. I'm playing characters from all over the world as well, so getting to grips with Kiwi accent and Northern Irish accent.
And it's amazing how you do all those accents in the same speech. It's incredible.
It's the half a bottle of wine at the interval which helps with that.
Micha, you're playing someone you've never met, or there isn't really much public footage of either.
Yeah, so in a way I think the pressure's off for me relative to some of these other big public figures. So I did the real Joe Baxter very kindly did sort of recorded interview with one of the team. So I had a little bit of guidance in terms of voice and mannerisms and stuff, but she's intentionally out of the sort of public eye, and even though I did very extensive internet research, she's just nowhere. She's like some kind of spy. So
what about first night pre-show routines? Does anyone have any superstitions or routines?
I used to, I think, when I was starting out, and then actually I've stopped all that, because I think slightly that way lies madness, and also then it becomes more about. You were saying something similar to this about. You were saying Slady's got his routines pre-match. And I used to be very particular about, right, I can't eat certain things and I have to warm up a certain amount of time. And actually, it removes you from. I think it removes you from the joy of it, which is you bring to some extent the day on stage with you.
Yeah.
You know, because I believe in there's a. Like you have your show and you do your rehearsal and you're always going to bring on the performance, but I also really think that if there's the joy of stage acting for me is if you have a day where you've had a tough day or you've had a really good day, you can allow that to subconsciously shape certain little choices. It keeps it fresh and organic for me.
Yes, I think that's a really good approach. What about you, Tim?
Well, I'm the opposite, really. I've got a mug in the dressing room which has been in every show since 1996.
Wow!
So
it's now the time to tell you about
that
accident.
behind on tour at the Euston Studios in Bath, so I had to make elaborate arrangements to have it posted back. So if you see me getting it out of the box, it's in the box, which was...
Do you wash it between jobs? Or?
Yes. I nurse it lovingly, but no, that's a little...
But that's to Pete's point, isn't it? Because, you know, with a superstition, it's so religious and routine, if you then break it, then surely that unlocks all kinds of insanity.
Well, let's not put that to the test, right?
Because I've drank out of the same cup now.
I can see
but I'm totally fine.
I can see a little game of hide the mug coming up.
I think music's a great one.
That's good.
I like using music a lot. If you think about it as warming up, right? We'll do a physical warm up, a vocal warm up. If I listen to nostalgic music, then I think that I use it as like an emotional warm up.
That's nice.
Like because you can have, and especially if it's a random playlist. Let's say there's like a 90s playlist, then I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to hear some things that maybe go, oh my god, I love this song and that I'm pumped and what have you. But then it may be a song or two I don't know. So the impulse is for me to want to skip the song, but I'm like, no, just sit in the disappointment of not knowing what's happening. And then the next one goes, oh, I'm back up again. And that for like 10, 15 minutes will allow me to just sort of feel the highs and the lows of emotions for before I go on. Because you just don't usually warm it up otherwise.
Do you do that every show?
Yeah,
every night. Yeah.
There'll always be some sort of music going on.
I think that's wicked because the times when I've struggled in any job are the reality is you don't go on stage we have a fantastic job, we all love what we do, and it's okay to not love work. You don't always leave the best job in the world loving every day, and sometimes you have to go on stage when you've had a really shit day and you're like the last place you want to be is in front of people. But I think that is such a good practice to like go check in with yourself before you. Do you know what I mean? I think I might pinch that.
Pinch it. Yeah. Well, like I said, I'll have the speaker in the changing room. We'll stick a good playlist on.
Yeah, like that.
I want to come into that changing room.
It's not legal, Micha. You cannot come in there.
The playlist they've done for the show is...
Keep talking, I'm going to go get pizza.
Great.
Okay.
That's all right. I can do a little monologue.
Obviously, it's great for audio recordings to supply food for full mouths and desk noise, but we're taking into it.
ASMR chewing into the mic.
Yes, yeah, it'd be good.
Ooh. I do try and avoid curry pre-show. Made that mistake on my first job when I ate a curry between a matinee and an evening show. And I mean, I was just farting the whole show through. And it's just one of those where you just sort of going, there's no way I can work this into a choice now. And also, I do believe in courtesy to the people you're on stage with. Yeah. So like, brush your teeth before you go on, and do you know what I mean, all that stuff. Yeah.
You ever had a crazy stage mishap, Rob? Now you've got a mouthful of
pizza. Did you wait until I
just waiting until you took that bite?
Thanks so much. It's a good question. I once failed to come on. That was terrifying. I was in Darlington, which I don't know if any of you guys have toured there, but the dressing rooms are, in its old school building with like 14 floors, and I was up on floor 7, as a younger lither actor you put at the top.
Did you hear your cue over the tannoy?
Well, it was Death of a Salesman, and there was one of those moments where someone says something twice. So I was like, you'd let the first one go, and then when they say it the second time, that's when I'll head downstairs. So I was mid-deep conversation with someone in the dressing room, heard the line, I was like, that's the first one. And then sort of just started, tempering the conversation to start listening out for the second one and preparing to go down. And then I just heard where is Bernard?
he must be here somewhere. You know, people improvising on stage, you know, waiting for me to come down. And I flew down the staircase.
You move faster than you know you're capable of doing that.
Yes, I actually watched the scene I was in on the monitor in the and that was the first inkling I had that I might have been.
It's really funny when you, especially like not initially, but when you've been in something for a little while, you get to know, you sort of know the whole show, which sounds mad, but you sort of do, and you become very finely tuned to a silence that shouldn't be there, and that panic. When you hit, like if you're in the wings or something and you hear silence on stage that you're not used to, and suddenly you go, oh, is that me?
But have you ever had the opposite where you also, because you know other people's lines, you then sort of think it might be your line?
Yeah. Oh, for sure, yeah.
Oh my God, Jack. Yeah. Especially when you're like, have multiple 2-show days or 3-show days sometimes at some pantos, and you've already done the show once or twice that day, and you're doing it for the third time. Like, who am I? What am I? Have I done this before? Am I dreaming? Whatever. I have a moment on this show. In rehearsal, can I say this? It's not a spoiler.
It depends what you're going to say.
About yesterday, so there's a moment where my character gets all the clothes ripped off, and like a big moment of clothes ripped off. And all the team...
It's a big moment.
It's a big moment.
It was worth that session of tech that we dedicated to it.
And all the team were really gently...
Average size moment.
Yeah.
Sorry, Emile.
And all the team were really gently like walking me through it and really like taking a really careful approach to it. And the first time they went, right, now we're going to do it, and they're going to rip the clothes off, and underneath the clothes I'm just wearing a dance support, which is like a very small, compact sort of flesh-coloured thong, essentially.
Yes.
And that's the only thing I'm wearing. And at the moment when they pulled all my clothes off for the very first time, the clothes disappear. About 20 college students walk into the auditorium and sit down and watch.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Completely, you couldn't have written it. The time
and about 40 seconds later, we're escorted immediately out. So the sum total, and you said to him, you were like, is that the extent of those students' tours?
Oh, God.
I thought you handled that moment very well, may I say.
Thank you.
Pay you a rare compliment. I thought you handled that like a real pro.
Yeah, it was fight or flight at that moment.
So what about there must be a moment, it'd be great to hear from each of you about the moment that you're kind of loving. You know, there's a little moment or a line or a section you're like, I really love this bit. And then there's conversely always a little moment when you're like, oh God, it's this bit.
I would say that I can't think of any other show I've done, certainly recently, where you actually look forward to your friends' bits, their highlights. Oh, you're going to love this bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that gives me a lot of pleasure.
Yeah, there is a lot. And the sort of tight nature of the rehearsal room, it's quite an ensemble piece, isn't it? So we're all on pretty much all the time, bar the odd scene here and there. And so you get to sit on the edges and enjoy those great moments, and it's really enjoyable watching it. How do we all feel? Because obviously Tony was in watching the other day.
Yeah.
Tony, Tony Rowe, the part that you're playing, Tim. And I know all of us had a very deep empathy for you in that moment. We were all looking at you. It's, we can all talk a good game, but when the person's literally breathing the same air as you, it feels very, very different, very tangible, very real.
And to jump on that as well, it wasn't a run in the theatre, it was a rehearsal room run, which is, so there were about 4 or 5 people watching. We're not in costume or anything, and there's no lights or anything, which is, it's a much more exposing thing. We all came up to you afterwards and just like, I don't know how you did that.
You were all lovely, but so was he. I think that was the point. Yes. I'd had the benefit of a meeting with him, so I knew from the get-go that he was very supportive. He was even quite excited, flattered to be portrayed on the stage. So, it couldn't have been easier. Whereas if I'd been performing one of my other real-life characters, it might not have been such an easy run.
I mean, I had a real mini crisis of confidence where I suddenly questioned every choice I've ever made, whether it was appropriate or not. I felt I'd maybe gone in a totally wrong direction with him. And it suddenly felt, and he wasn't even in the room in that moment, but because we had the book author, the playwright author, Tony, who's club, and invariably, they must have been doing what we would have all done if we were watching a story really familiar to us, going, well, that's brilliant, that's exactly like it happened, or it's not at all like that, or they're not like that, and everything in between, which is totally fine. And it's not, it's not a documentary, it's a reimagined, creative reimagining of a real life story, so there's no attempt to be bang on. But
I think it's a good sign that we were nervous, because I think if you because it matters, and do you know what I mean? If you didn't care about something like that, then I'd say you've maybe not done the work.
Yeah.
You've not done the work to feel, oh, have I done this right? Because we're all actors. We're no strangers to imposter syndrome. But it was very like, oh my God, we're literally playing your best mates. Yeah. And portraying some, it's not all. It's a overwhelmingly a positive story, but there's some really dark stuff in there as well, in terms of it covers all sorts of things, and deaths and more serious subjects. So I don't know. I think it's a very good sign that we felt intimidated slightly.
Brilliant. Well, I'm full of admiration for all of you. I think everyone's doing an amazing job. It's going to be over in a heartbeat, isn't it? Really.
We admire you, Rob. Honestly.
Yeah.
I speak for everyone at this table when I say that we admire you.
What's that song you do about Robert?
All the best. Have a brilliant this week and opening night. Still, how far away?
That as if you're not going to be going into a room.
I know, but I've lost all sense of timeline.
If he disassociates, he feels better about the job. Have a great time, guys.
Answered our favourite moment or least favourite
moment.
Only
well, none of you really did, so we probably won't. We'll probably bring it to a close there, but thanks so much. I
really enjoy sits probes.
Do you?
We've moved on now.
Do you? We're not having one of them, but do you?
But it's a very musical thing.
Describe what a sits probe is.
Well, topic change. A sits probe is a moment during rehearsals, and usually just before tech. It's when the orchestra and the company get together for the first time, and you get to blitz out all the songs you've been grinding in a room, sitting down in a chair with just a piano for like a whole couple of weeks, and then you get a whole band in. And depending on the show, there can be like a 40-piece orchestra sometimes, or it can be a really sort of eclectic, small, electric-sounding thing. Like for Hamilton, it was obviously a mix of really electronic beats and like a 4-piece quartet of strings, and it was just... it's the most exciting time for me.
And you get to feel like a pop star, right? Because often you're standing in front of a mic stand as well, and it's a different kind of whole genre really going on.
And you really big yourself up. And if it's a show that's well known as well, or there's particular belting songs or something, then even if you're not the one singing the song, everyone's really excited for the person who gets to sing it with the band. Everyone's like, it's a wicked time. Definitely my favourite, because there's no stress. Everyone's accumulative work. Everyone's looking forward to that. The band have been working and rehearsing by themselves as well, and they get to hear the voices on their tracks and vice versa. And it's the most relaxing rehearsal day just before you know you're about to go into a fuck fest of tech for a week. So it's really, really good.
Any other fave bits?
I really like a last night.
Do you?
No, I do. I just because it's like, I think if you... before the end of every last show, I'd sort of take a moment and go, this is the last time you'll do this one. And it's when you've devoted a chunk of time, a chunk of your life to something. I don't know, I sort of... It feels more important that this is the last time I'll do this scene, this is the last time I'll pass this prop over. It's a kind of like a little rubber stamp on the end of an experience for me.
It's a really interesting part of theatre, isn't it? I mean, regular listeners know I'm not aversion to a wanky statement, but theatre's so ephemeral, isn't it? So, it's there and then it evaporates, and all that work, all that endeavour, unless you've been part of that moment and sharing it as an audience member or as a performer, it's gone. I know to a certain extent in the digital age, bits are recorded, or they create a show record of it, and we've all seen theatre recorded. It's horrible. It never translates, and that's both kind of wonderful and devastating. I know when we've all been part of good things, I'm sure when it evaporates, you're like, oh my God, it's gone. Never to be recreated in the same way. Unlike doing, writing a novel or a piece of art or doing something on film. The converse of that is true, right? Where it's in an archive somewhere, you walk into a bookshop and you're like, my name's in that. That's a really lovely feeling as well, when you sort of, generations to come, we've all picked up play texts and we've gone,
Ian McKellen was playing that small part at age 19.
There's a lovely photo downstairs in the foyer here of a production of Cabaret back in the, I'm going to say 70s. And in the chorus line is Emile Staunton, Celia Imrie, and someone else I've forgotten. But it's that lovely thing again. This is maybe related, maybe not, but it depends on the length of job and everything, but certainly I'm going to say 4 to 6 weeks after the end of every job, I have a dream where I'm on stage in that show and I dry. And I think that's me forgetting, the lines leaving my head. And I literally, like clockwork, I always have that dream about every single job ever done. I'm on stage. It's always after I finished it, and it's I can't remember the lines. So weird.
Very efficient.
Yeah.
Efficient?
Yeah.
Or is it slightly psychopathic?
His hard drive's a bit full yesterday.
I like doing relaxed performances.
Sorry.
What's funny about that?
We've noticed.
She's pulled the shots,
She almost didn't let it out. It's fear of being cancelled.
It's like Martin's in the room all over it. So for people who don't know relaxed performances, I use performances which people with additional needs can come, and it's more free flowing in that the lights are on in the auditorium and a lot of the sound effects are dulled down stuff. But I feel like a big thing about theatre is it can feel a bit stuffy, and that you can feel like locked into, I'm sitting in a seat, I have to shut up and listen and be quiet, and that's not accessible for everyone. And actually relaxed performances sometimes feel the most organic and free flowing on stage and off, and you can feel a bigger connection with the audience than when the audience are completely silent and sitting down and shutting up. And also theatre should be more accessible for more people all the time, and I love it when I've got the opportunity to do one.
That's a very worthy thing to say.
So so Micha, come back at me then.
Micha's feeling really.
But also, weirdly though, on the back of that, sometimes we relax performances because you know it's relaxed. Actually, you do better. Speaking for myself, you perform better because you are just enjoying it more and relaxing more.
Great. Well, listen, we literally need to wrap this up because we're taking up lunchtime and we all need to get back into
Did you get enough Joe on that?
I think so. Hopefully.
We should just do
a one-on-one, a two-parter. Look forward to that. Brilliant. Well, thanks again, everyone. Thanks for digging into the pizza, and have a great week.
Yeah.
Well, they all sound like an absolutely lovely bunch of people.
Yeah,
they are.
They're really, really good. Everyone's really lovely, and look forward to as Pete said then, it'll be over before we know it, and he's a big fan of The Last Day and keeping all those memories. So I think it's only 2 weeks. We've got to hold on to the fun of it. Everyone's doing such a great job, and it's really nice to enjoy each other from the wings because there's never a moment where you're off stage. So I'm looking forward to it. And is there going to be life after this? Do we know yet? I don't know. Who knows? I think it should. I mean, if Punch can go to Broadway, play set in Nottingham, then why can't this one from Exeter? Why? I think Broadway beckons.
You've gone big, mate. You're getting Tony nominations and everything. Love it.
So anyway, back to me sounding like a disc jockey in Stino's bar in some sort of Howard Stern style. And we'll catch up soon enough in the clubhouse, eh?
We will, yes. Well, I have news, and I might be able to tell you about it by that point.
Oh, great. All right.
Yeah.
Look forward to that.
Man.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Miss you. Love you. Bye.
Bye. Well, I hope you've enjoyed all that insight into what goes into putting on a new play and a good old chat with some of my castmates. So it's Sunday night now, time of recording. I've had a lovely afternoon in Stino's bar watching a bit of Grand Prix, Singapore Grand Prix, Premiership football. There's a pool table, but you weren't here, Jack, to let me beat you. The red zone is coming up for some NFL American football. I wish I could stay and enjoy some of that here, but it's not the best thing ahead of a big important week of opening a show to hang out in a sports bar and drink pints. But I've enjoyed a nice Sunday lunch and a couple of beers. If you haven't seen the show yet, do get down to Exeter if you're in the neighbourhood and watch it. Hang around the bar and say hi. If you did see the show already, I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for listening to this. And I hope you stick around and enjoy carrying on listening to future episodes. There'll be lots more theatre and sports content as we carry on throughout the year. Bit of rugby league coming up when we do the real rugby and go to Wembley to watch Great Britain. Well, no longer Great Britain. England versus Australia in the Ashes Test match at Wembley in a few weeks' time. Looking forward to that. Next week in the episode, it's going to be really... Oh, man, I'm a little bit nervous, actually. On Tuesday this week, I am meeting Rob Baxter face-to-face. He's really kindly agreed to have a sit-down with me, and it's a When Rob Met Rob episode. I'm really looking forward to meeting him, and I'm hoping to find out a little bit more about stuff that hasn't really been covered in his myriad of interviews he's done in media over the years, his relationship to leading, and a bit about who he is and how he relaxes, how he winds down. And I'd love to find out how he feels about being a performer himself, you know, being out front representing this extraordinary club over the journey that they've gone on. And it'd be great to find out how he's managed that and evolved through that. But that's all for next week. So do tune in for a When Rob Met Rob special, when I go to Sandy Park and sit down and chat with Rob Baxter, who's coming to see the show, by the way. Oh my God, that's going to be a weird experience. I'm sure weirder for him than it will be for me. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch up next week.
In 2010 it all came right. The boys put the Bristol pack to flight. All you could hear was the tribe that night. The memorial ground was grieving, and the rain came down and the night grew dark. We lifted the crown and lit the spark, drinking all night at Sandy Park. No one thought about leaving the river and the hills and the rolling sea. Exeter the chiefs of the West Country. Robbie and the boys play the best rugby. Exeter the chiefs of the West Country. The river and the hills and the rolling sea. Exeter the chiefs of the West Country. Robbie and the boys play the best rugby. Exeter the chiefs of the West Country.